All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to class today. Oh my goodness, it's already September 1st. All right. And here's what I've got going for today. I know we spent most of the time last week looking at credibility of online information. If you haven't done so already, I want you to make sure that you go back and watch the video that I posted on our stream and have taken the evaluating online information, the review Google form that I posted there. That's the first thing that I want you to get done today. Assuming that you've gotten all of that done, this is where I want us to get started now. Instead of like just looking at online information all of the time, we need to get into some content for government. All right. So what we're going to do today is we are going to be looking at a document called the Declaration of Independence. All right. And essentially, the big picture overall question that we're going to be looking at here shortly is the founding fathers that we have, these people that created our United States government. Why did they create a complex government rather than like a super, super simple government? All right, because our government is pretty complex. Why did we create a complex government rather than a simple government? All right, but we're not going to get there yet. That's where we're going for today. Where we are, what we're going to do today is start to figure out how did our United States government get started. All right. So when I say the word government, what we are talking about is we're talking about essentially those people that hold public office, that get elected, that are elected to make decisions for the people of the United States, the people of Iowa, the people of Belmont, the people of Clemmy, the people of Rowan, the people of Goodell. You could go on and on and on. All right. So, when we talk about the government, we might be talking about like the president of the United States. We might be talking about the governor. We might be talking about the mayor, so on and so forth. Because what we have in the United States is we have different levels of government in the United States. So, for example, we have kind of I guess probably you could consider them the top, the ones, the biggest form of government that we have is what's called our federal government, which is located in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. So that is headed by President Trump, obviously. We also have some senators like Chuck Grassley and Joni Ernst, and we have some people that are in what's called the House of Representatives, like all of these people down there. All right. And I'm not necessarily going to go through all of these because I don't expect you to remember all of these names. These are just people that are in our federal government. All right. So we've got the president, we've got some senators, and the president obviously is president for everybody in the United States. But these senators, all of these two senators and these four members of the House are all from Iowa specifically. So they represent like Iowa specifically. We also have some state governments. There's quite a few people in the state government, but it's headed by Governor Kim Reynolds. Right now, you probably have seen her with everything going on with coronavirus, seen her in the news quite a bit. That's our governor, kind of like the head of the state of Iowa. We also have a couple representatives that represent us in the Iowa government from our area, and that's Terry Baxter and Dennis Guth. So we have a couple people that represent like us specifically. All right. And then we can even get down to like a local level. We do have some local governments. Our local governments, we have like Belmont City Council, and our Belmont City Council page right here. Belmont is kind of headed by Mayor Frank Bominio. And then we have all of these other people who are city council members. All right. So you probably know a lot of these people like John Swenson. He obviously works here at BK and is our head of transportation. He is a part of the Belmont City Council. All right. And we've got like some parents of some people that are here at BK that are part of the city council as well. So they could be considered a part of our local government. All right. We also have a school board. The school board is some people that get elected, and they are there to help make decisions about what is best for our school. All right. So once again, these are like local members that are a part of kind of our school government, if you will. So the government are just the people that are elected to lead us. All right. And kind of the main question that we're going to look at today is this question right here. How did our like overall United States government get started? All right, so that's where we're going. How did our United States government get started? And where we need to go with this is we need to go all the way back to kind of the beginning of the United States. And I'm not going to go through like super in depth, but just a general snapshot of what was the United States like at the very beginning of our country. All right. And the beginning of our country, what was going on here was we were just 13 colonies all over here on the East Coast. All right. And we were tied together here. That's why I've got this rope. We were tied together with Great Britain. We were a part of Great Britain. And this is King George III. He was the head of Great Britain. So he essentially was in charge of, he and Great Britain were in charge of the 13 colonies. We weren't called the United States because we weren't our own country. We were a part of Great Britain. We were just living over here being a part of Great Britain. What happened was the United States, the people of the United States, we got upset at some things that the king in Great Britain were doing to us, like taxing us heavily and not allowing us to have enough of a say in decisions that got made. That essentially what happened was a bunch of our, what I'm going to call founding fathers, the people that kind of started our government, got together and said, okay, we don't like this whole relationship we've got going on with the king in Great Britain. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and figure out what the heck we're going to do about this. All right. So we've got founding fathers, some of the famous founding fathers I have over here, like we've got President George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, John Hancock, a bunch of others. There's about 50 different founding fathers that we have that kind of started us on the course of our new government. So the first thing they did was we were in a relationship with like King George in Great Britain, and they had to figure out, okay, what do we want to do because this relationship just isn't working for us in the United States. So what they did was they actually created what's called the Declaration of Independence. And they wrote up the Declaration of Independence, and they decided they were going to send that to the king. They were going to send that directly to King George and Great Britain. And essentially what the Declaration of Independence here is, and what I've got up here, written up here, is the Declaration of Independence is essentially a breakup letter. All right. And I know that sounds silly, but what it is a breakup letter where the United States, we wrote a breakup letter saying, hey, Great Britain, King George, we no longer want to be in a relationship with you. We want to be single. We want to be our own independent country, no longer a part of Great Britain. All right. So essentially what we want to do here is this rope that ties the king to these 13 colonies, we're going to go ahead and try to cut that. All right. So what we decided to do was we decided that our founding fathers were going to sit down, and a whole bunch of our founding fathers talked about, okay, what exactly do we want to say in this breakup letter? How do we want this breakup letter to look? What sort of things do we want to talk about? And what they decided was they were going to kind of put their breakup letter, this Declaration of Independence, they split it up into 5 different parts. All right. And each different part serves its own different purpose. All right. So what we have here is we have like a preamble where essentially the founding fathers explained, hey, King, here's why we're sending this letter. All right. Where essentially they're saying, hey, we're going to break up with you. The second part is we do have like a statement of rights where essentially the founding fathers say, hey, here's the reason why we believe we have the right to break up with you, Great Britain. Then they go on. The third thing they do is they say, here's all of the ways, here's all of the complaints we have had in dealing with you, Great Britain, in our relationship. Our relationship, all the complaints we have, essentially, we're going to air them all out right here. We're going to list every single complaint we have with either the king or with our relationship with Great Britain. And then what they do is they have an explanation of previous action where they explain, hey, here's all of the things that we have tried to do to keep our relationship together, but this just isn't working. All right. And then last but not least, they have like, here's what we think is going to come next. All right. And we're going to actually take a look at this, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more on the Google Doc that I posted in here, but we're going to be looking at the actual Declaration of Independence here coming up. All right. So essentially, remember the Declaration of Independence, what it is. A lot of times we get this confused with the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence was just the very first document we wrote as a country. Our founding fathers wrote as a country, and it was a breakup letter that we sent to the king saying we no longer want to be in a relationship with King George or with Great Britain. All right, so that's what I've got there. Next up, we can move on to this Google Doc, and I'll have a video explanation of that really briefly here moving forward. Thanks.